Who's actually going to get the most out of a motorized swing gate? And who should walk away before spending a weekend with a wrench? If you've been eyeing a way to stop the morning rush of cars queuing at a curbside gate, but you're also nervous about wiring, solar panels, and whether the remote will actually work on a busy street, you're not alone. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And I'm going to walk through the real-world questions that matter before you click Add to Cart. First off, the Ghost Controls Pro Series kit promises to turn a decorative swing gate into a hands-free barrier with a single remote, and it's marketed as solar-capable for those who want to stay off the house wiring. That sounds perfect for a suburban homeowner who loves curb appeal, but it also raises a few red flags for renters, for people with narrow driveways, or for anyone who doesn't want to tinker with power. The biggest hesitation I've seen from buyers in this space is whether the system can actually handle the weight and swing arc of a custom-styled gate without grinding to a halt after a few months. If you're the type who enjoys DIY projects and already has a basic understanding of electrical work, the Ghost Controls kit lands in a sweet spot. The great range claim isn't just marketing hype. The remote's 1,000-foot linear sight reach is enough to open the gate from a driveway or even from the street when you're pulling into a tight spot. In practice, that means you can stay in your car, press the button, and watch the gate swing open without stepping out in the rain. I've spoken with a few homeowners who installed the unit on a 12-foot ornamental gate that weighs about 350 pounds, and they reported the motor handled the load without stalling, even after a full season of use. For them, the real value came from the convenience of never having to manually lift the heavy bar again. On the flip side, if your gate is heavier than a typical residential swing, say, a custom wrought iron piece that pushes 600 pounds, or if the swing arc is unusually wide, you'll likely hit the limits of the motor's torque. The kit is designed for standard residential gates, and the manufacturer doesn't list an upper weight threshold in the spec sheet, which leaves you guessing. That's a practical weakness. Without clear guidance, a heavier gate could strain the motor, leading to premature wear or a sudden stop mid-swing, a safety concern you don't want on a busy street. Installation is another area where the product splits the crowd. The easy installation tagline is accurate if you already have a basic gate framework and can run a short power line or set up the included solar panel. The solar option is appealing for those who want to avoid trenching, but it does require a fairly sunny location and a roof or pole that can hold the panel at a 45-degree angle. In a real-world scenario, a homeowner in the Pacific Northwest mentioned that the solar panel took longer than expected to charge during overcast weeks, forcing them to keep the gate plugged into a standard outlet as a backup. If you live in a region with consistent cloud cover, you'll need to budget for that extra wiring. For renters, or anyone who can't make permanent changes to the property, the kit is a hard pass. The mounting brackets and the need to route power, whether solar or wired, mean you'll be altering the gate structure, which most lease agreements prohibit. Even for a homeowner, the decision hinges on whether you're comfortable drilling into the gate's frame and possibly the driveway surface to secure the motor unit. If you're not confident with that level of DIY, hiring an electrician or a gate installer will add $200, $300 to the overall cost, cutting into the perceived savings of a do-it-yourself kit. Now let's talk about everyday usability after the initial setup. The remote is straightforward. One button to open, one to close, and a lock button for when you need the gate to stay shut. The lock feature works well for short periods like when you're heading out on a quick errand, but it isn't meant for long-term security. The gate can still be manually opened with the original latch in an emergency, which is a nice safety net. However, the system doesn't integrate with smart home platforms out of the box. If you were hoping to add the gate to a Google Home or Alexa routine, you'll need a separate third-party hub, which adds cost and complexity. For users who simply want a remote-controlled swing gate without the bells and whistles, that's fine. For tech-savvy homeowners seeking full home automation, it's a limitation. Battery life is another practical consideration. The motor itself draws power only when moving the gate, so the solar panel's job is mainly to keep the internal backup battery topped up. In practice, most users see the battery hold a charge for several days of typical use opening and